Welcome to Colonize the Ocean Podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts, Adam Jewell and Brendon Traxler.
Episode of Colonize the Ocean Podcast. I don't have anything good to describe myself today, but I am Adam Jewell, one of the hosts of the Colonize the Ocean Podcast, and with me, as always, is my good friend and the founder of Atlantis Sea Colony. It's Brendon Traxler. Brendon, how are you doing today?
I thought you forgot your name there for a second. I was a little concerned for you, but I'm doing good.
Sanitized and everything?
Sanitized and... yeah.
Mesmerized.
Yeah. I'm good.
We're into another week of this stuff. So I mean, we covered it last week. We're not going to get into it today, but I mean, we will reiterate: stay healthy, folks, and stay vigilant. And
some vitamins.
Get some vitamins. I don't know if that's going to help, but I mean, I definitely won't hurt anything, especially if it's the Flintstones vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you are quarantined in your house, I mean, what better way to spend that time than to catch up on Colonize the Ocean podcast? Go back in some of our other episodes that we've done. Did you guys know that we interviewed Carly Jackson from the Seasteading Institute? Did you guys know that we interviewed Tech Clark, one of the most, talented scuba divers and well-educated men out there when it comes to scuba diving? We interviewed him. We also interviewed a guy named Joseph Bishop. He's done a lot of stuff with engineering in the underwater habitation as well. So, if you got time, go back on that. So today, Brendon, we're gonna get into some stuff that's been in the news, some stuff that's other than the coronavirus, because I'm sure at this point, no matter where you stand, you're probably a little tired of hearing it. You probably want to hear some other stuff. So, I'm gonna kick it off. Is that okay with you, Brendon?
Yeah, but, before you kick it off, I just want to say, I think it was kind of interesting that I was downstairs getting a drink, and on Netflix playing was a documentary about Sylvia Earle. I was like, huh. So I'm a little late to coming up here to do this podcast because I was standing around watching this documentary, and they're talking about Graham Hawkes and James Cameron and all these people she's worked with, and it was just very fascinating and very timely for doing a podcast about underwater stuff.
Yeah, maybe on the upcoming week on our Facebook page, we should just put out some movie recommendations for people to binge watch while they're on quarantine. That would be a good idea, right?
Yeah, I watched Outbreak last night, which is pretty timely. So,
I mean, does that have anything to do with colonizing the ocean?
Well, no, I'm just saying it's a Outbreak movie, so it was had.
Well, I mean, trying to relate back to us a little bit.
I know what you
mean. If you want to just go off of good movies altogether, I mean, I don't think that's going to tie in. If you want to catch up on The Office, go ahead and catch up on The Office. But if you want to learn about some ocean stuff, we'll look at some stuff and put out some recommendations for you guys. So I'm going to kick it off. And I was going to dive into one particular article, but as I was starting to do my research for the week, I came across something that we didn't post about on the Facebook page, and that's usually how we get our information. And it is a little bit different, and I'm gonna, this is the first time you're hearing it too, because I didn't talk to you about this beforehand, but this week, astronaut Al Worden, who circled the moon and once earned record for most isolated human being, he has passed away. So that was just a couple days ago when he passed away, and a lot of you guys are probably wondering, well, what does that have anything to do with colonizing the ocean? What is that doing on your guys' podcast? But the way I kind of see it is we have two modes that we go into with Atlantis Sea Colony and Colonize the Ocean. We like to poke fun at the space community just because we like to crack jokes about people doing space exploration as opposed to oceanic exploration. And then in the same breath, we like to, acknowledge that a lot of these things go hand in hand. So, obviously RIP Al Worden, but the thing I wanted to talk about is he has, like I said, this acknowledgement of being the most isolated human being because of when he was on the lunar missions and being on the shuttle, um, being, what they say, like 2,235 miles away from anybody else. And I got to thinking, I was trying to do that math in my head and kind of looking at maps. There's no way that you could be that isolated on Earth. Like I can't think of how far away you can get from people before you're like the furthest you can be. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Okay, so like there's nowhere on Earth that you could do that. I mean, but
No.
the only way you could do that, I mean, get close to it, is you are going to be in the ocean. Like if you wanted to be truly like the furthest you could be from another human being, it's going to be somewhere in the ocean.
Yeah.
So, me and you talked on one episode, Brendon, about, we like to joke that you're a introverted person and you don't mind being away from people. You made the comments of how that's one of the reasons that you're passionate about this project, is just that you'd have a place to go to kind of get away from people. Now, how far away from people do you think you could actually get before it would like drive you crazy?
I mean,
like, could you be like let's just say 1,000 miles away?
well, I think it all comes in how long of a time are we talking here too? Because totally. Yeah, you put me, send me to the moon for a week. I mean, I'll be fine with that. But it all depends on the period of time and what do I have at my disposal too. So I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into that kind of question.
See, and I like to think that like I could do it, but then I don't know, the more and more I think about it, like I think I'd start panicking. Like just knowing that like if you needed to like get immediate help, that it is that far away. You know what I mean? Like that thing like kind of freaks me out. So it's like, I keep talking and thinking about this guy, Worden, and the kind of bravery you have to just, like I said, be 2,235 miles away from anybody. And not even just that, but like out of contact, really, too. Like, I mean, he went through a period where there was no communications. So it's not like you're physically distant from people, but you have like no electronic communication with anybody, for a period of time. I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like days though. So I mean, once again, it was a small period of time where he's on the dark side of the moon, where it cuts out. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
but that's like, doesn't that concept alone, like of having zero?
oh yeah, totally. Yeah, no, that's right, and I think that's you talk about underwater, but when I'm talking to people or when we're talking to people, the number one thing that comes up, is a fear factor of the whole thing. You being underwater, or being, if you're talking about floating on the water on boats, even you're being so far where you can't see land anymore. It's a disconcerting feeling. At first, that there is no land anywhere in sight, and it makes you a little uneasy at first. I think a lot of people, some people love it. Once again, it depends on your personality, and possibly his personality was one where it didn't bother him.
Right. And we talk about too with what we're trying to accomplish with having the underwater habitats, the underwater colonies, is, I mean, we talk about how close we would be to civilization, how far out would we be, how deep would we be. And in our early stages of this project, I'm speaking on your behalf, but I don't think our first habitat is going to be at the bottom of the Marianas Trench or anything where you're that far away. So I mean, you'll always be within a safe distance of civilization, and obviously with technology where it's at, and with I believe it's called Starlink. That's the Elon Musk internet program that's launching, right? So with Starlink, then I mean you'll have easier access to internet and communication. So obviously it's a lot different of what we're trying to accomplish now and in the near future than what these guys did really just about a half a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean, you look at when we're talking about ocean colonization, I equate it back to the colonizers of America, where they landed and they branched out across America, and territory that had no idea what was out there, but they started at a main point and built it out a little bit, and they built out a little further and a little further, and after time, there's all the way across the United States. And same thing with that. It's, say you start dropping colonies off the Florida coast, well, eventually, at that rate, you would, if you're the only one doing it, you'd be all the way over to Africa or wherever, because you've built them out far enough, you're moving far enough away. Yeah, they'd be deeper and they'd be further, but as technology advances and people expand out and stuff, it'll expand as well.
Yeah, and like you said, with the early colonizers, and when the people came over to North America and wherever, it wasn't just, it was for the brave people, and that's kind of the way I see it in the beginning of what, when we drop our first prototype into the ocean, we're probably not going to ask the most shy person or the most cautious person to be the one to try it out. We're going to find that guy that's adventurous, that's been dreaming of this. I mean, granted, it's probably going to be you. I mean, this is your project. You're going to be the first one.
Yeah, no joke. I'll be the first one. That's not.
But like you said, as this community comes through, that is, that's all for it and just loves it, and the excitement of it, and that get a adrenaline rush and stuff out of exploration and being the first to achieve something. Then you get the community that's like, all right, well, there's been a bunch of people that have already done it. I'm going to get behind it too. So that's kind of one of the things I've sat back and thought about with working alongside you on this project is, your first people are going to be the adventure type, and then it's going to be followed by the people that, like I said, are, just like the first person to jump out and test out a parachute, had to take a set of cojones to do that. But now that, literally a million people have done it, people are like, yeah, it's a safe thing to do now. So, same thing.
We'll never do it. Nope.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'll never do it either, but you understand what I mean, where enough people have done it to where they've been like, okay, don't worry, this is a lot safer than what you think. But maybe I shouldn't compare parachuting and underwater living the same thing, but you know what I mean, where it's all about the adventures, and then it's the people that just want to get away for a weekend. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the first ones will be slightly crazy, obviously, but that's okay.
Yeah, and once people realize how normal we are, or at least how normal we can make ourselves appear to be, they'll be on board. So, so what do you got for this week?
Well, I mean, obviously not as much in-depth pondering and life searching as yours did, but one was an article I sent over to you that we didn't make it. I don't think you never did post this, did you?
Is it the scrubbing one? Yeah, it is on.
Okay, well, so how much I pay attention to what we post out there. But anyway, yeah, basically it's an article about a new it's technique, but it's a new mini scrubber for the hulls of boats and stuff along those lines. It's not automatic; you have to remote control it, and it's that whole technology thing I don't think is all that new, because there's been robots and ROVs and all that kind of stuff for years. But this one is designed specifically to remove all the buildup off of ships and stuff along those lines. And at the same time, it's always been a thought in my head, well, you're going to have to hire somebody. Right now, like Jules, and you have to have somebody that goes down there and cleans off the windows and stuff along those lines from all the buildup. And same thing with any underwater structure or oceanic structure at all. It's going to have buildup as time goes. So, to have something that doesn't require man work is nice. And I think we can segue into the fact that, technology and AI and all these things are going to be taking up more and more labor-intensive jobs over the years. And this is just one little thing that is up there that they're testing out right now for that. So the whole article basically talks about this new little rover thing that it goes on the side of a ship and cleans it off, and you just remote control, run it up and down over the ship, and it cleans it off. And I just thought it was interesting on multiple levels, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like, granted, you said this one's like you did say it's a manually operated one?
Yeah, I said right now it's just manually operated.
Right. And so as technology progresses, you know what the next step is going to
Oh
be
yeah,
is that it's going to be automated. And it kind of makes me, laugh because I'm thinking about how, let's say 20 years ago, which, God, that seems like a long time ago, but at the same time, it doesn't seem. But anyways, like, I would have never thought that people were going to invent little circular robot vacuums that could just vacuum your floor for you. I would never assume that someone would make a GPS navigated, self automated lawnmower that you can program to mow your lawn for you. As cool as this is, it's not surprising that they're going down this route. And I mean, this is probably one of the things that you and I would probably want the most with setting up underwater colonies and these underwater habitats, because let's just face it, people don't really like to clean. There's few people that like get a kick out of cleaning, but those people are weird. And when it really comes down to it, like, cleaning is something you have to do just to live a healthy lifestyle, but it's inconvenient, and especially when you're talking about the kind of environment that you'd be in for in this case cleaning the hulls of ships and having to go underwater to do it, having to have it be a manual job, or as you were talking about with Jules, same thing, it's a manual job that somebody has to go down and do. And like I said, there's probably people that get a kick out of it and they probably have fun. It's probably more fun to go clean underwater if you're into scuba diving and stuff than it is to, like, say, clean up your house. But at the same time, certain chores and stuff just become mundane, um and this kind of thing, it's probably not necessarily easy to clean either. Like, there's probably a lot of work that goes into cleaning the kind of crud that builds up on metal and steel and concrete, whatever the materials are that are being used on these different types of structures. So I mean, this is a huge boost for this kind of technology.
right. And it's what like you're saying, it's basically an underwater Roomba. And yeah, and eventually it will be. And it's, I mean, it's, as you say, it's no surprise, especially as we start building habitats and the deeper and deeper you go, the more difficult it is for somebody to go outside and clean it. So it's one of those things that was going to get eventually come around one way out of necessity more than anything. But it's nice that the technology is already out there and being developed, and they'll be plug and play pretty much once we're got habitats out there ready for the public.
Just think of how many jobs we could create by once we get our first underwater colony, not just the underwater habitat, but actually a colony, because we're gonna have to put people to work building these underwater drones, or these underwater Roombas, or whatever you want to call them, to do the cleaning. And people have to manufacture those, and just all this type of stuff that we're going to have done. I mean, I don't want to get into politics, but I mean, we're going to do a lot for the economy.
Yeah. Hey, well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we are, but yeah, I mean, that's something I've thought about too. Is as any business like this grows, the amount of people you start bringing on and stuff like that. Like that's a different subject. That's a different time. Let's not get into that right now.
Yeah, there's already enough crap going on with politics. We don't need to even like tiptoe into that territory right now. But yeah, I mean, it is a very cool technology. I see a lot of different stuff about underwater drones, and I know you said this one's a manually operated one, and probably at this stage in its technology has to be manually operated just to, that's how everything has to start in the beginning. But it is a very cool technology that I'm excited to see further develop, because it's, I mean, really, if you can decrease the amount of money you're spending on maintenance and stuff, and just, I guess, make it more efficient and quicker, I mean, you're saving yourself a lot of money, and not only that, but extending the life of your, whether it's ships, boats, whatever, by keeping it well maintained.
Yeah, and the ending of this article does go on to state that, hey, even though this is new for this company and they're actually testing it right now on some ships, there is a company out of Florida that does have a similar product that's semi-autonomous. So already you can see, even in this one article based around this one thing, they're already saying there are other companies out there that are doing the same thing, and in some aspects maybe a little further ahead too.
Yeah, it's kind of like those people that have pools have
Mm-hmm.
those little, well, I guess they're kind of the equivalent of Roombas, but they're for the bottom of your pool. Granted, I'm sure there's a few similarities, but I'm sure it's drastically different as well, and on the amount of work and motions and I guess techniques it's got to go through to keep it clean. So, anything else you want to touch on this week, Mr. Traxler?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's been you would think that being stuck in our houses, we'd have a little bit more to talk about, but no, for being I'm a hermit anyway, so there's no big change in my lifestyle, but no, just joking. No, I think we're good. I'm just glad we're getting another episode out and we've got something cool to talk about. And hopefully the listeners out there also are enjoying this slightly new format. Once again, we're not going away from our regular interviews and stuff like that. We're working on some right now, actually. But we want to get more content out there. And by doing these news ones almost weekly, we're hoping that helps.
Absolutely. And like I was mentioning at the top of the podcast, if you are in quarantine or if you do have more time to just listen to podcasts, watch videos and stuff, I do want to give a shout out to our friends that I did mention earlier. So Carly Jackson, she does run the Seasteading Today podcast. Go check that out. Tech Clark, he has 2 podcasts, the League of Extraordinary Divers and then the Dive Locker. He's got 2 podcasts. So, check those out. But also, like I said, check out the backlog of Colonize the Ocean podcast. And then as
episode 10, 11,
this is 11, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're going weekly, this is going to add up pretty good. So, tell your friends if they're into this kind of thing. So, with that, I'm going to see if I can remember all this stuff all at once now. So, we have our websites you can visit at www.colonizetheocean.com. Also, www.atlantaseacolony.com. You can check Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Reddit, LBRY, TikTok, I think you even have. So just search Atlanta Sea Colony on any of those, and you will find us. And you guys can get a hold of us. Actually, just get a hold of me. Don't even talk to Brendon. Just talk to me. You can get a hold of me at Adam@Atlanta Sea Colony. If there's anything you want me to bring up on the show. I mean, Brendon has Brendon at Atlanta Sea Colony, but I don't know why you'd want to talk to him necessarily.
Or just message on our social media platforms too,
Yeah, you can do that too. But I mean, some people like to go old school, and it makes me feel old now that I'm thinking that writing emails is a little old school. But having said that, guys, check us out on all those platforms. Follow us on those platforms. Talk with us and give us some ideas too. I mean, we're always posting content on the Atlanta Sea Colony Facebook page and all the social medias. But if there's more stuff you want to see, if there's stuff that you have ideas for, hit us up. We're an open book. We love getting feedback. We love talking to all of our followers. So if you don't have anything else, Brendon, I'm going to sign off by saying thank you guys once again for tuning in.
Nope, we are good. Thank you guys for tuning in.